Morning, year seven. I hope that everybody is well today and that you enjoyed the weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in to my second, I guess this isn't so much an assembly like the last one, but my second time to speak to all of you. I'd just like to say thank you again to everybody who watched last week's assembly and to all of you who emailed me to let me know some interesting things about you and to share with me your hopes and ambitions for the future. I really enjoyed reading all of them. I thought they were brilliant and just made me feel really lucky to be the year leader to a year group that's got so many wonderful students in it. So I did put in my newsletter entry that you might have already read that I was going to be launching a challenge to all of you in year seven today. And this challenge is going to take us all the way through until the end of term. And I'm really hoping that lots of you will want to get involved. I think it will give a really great focus for you and, well, for me and your tutors as well, as we kind of get through these last 5 weeks of remote schooling before we hit the summer holidays. So as you can already see on the screen, my challenge to you is the Kindness Challenge 2020, and I chose this picture because I agree, actually I think kindness is a bit like a kind of magic. It is what's the word, it's quite contagious. If someone's really kind to you, then it puts you in a good mood, and then you're more likely to kind of pass it forward and do something kind perhaps to somebody else that same day. So this is how it's going to work. To join the challenge, you are going to choose one challenge each week from the list on the next few slides, and I'll go through those challenge options with you. So you just pick one per week. So in total, you're only going to do 5. Some of you might like to, because there is quite a few to choose from, some of you might like to carry on with these challenges and to do them throughout the summer holidays as well. So in total, you get to do at least 11 of them. Every Thursday, I want you to email your tutor with a picture of you holding up a sign that you've made, just using a piece of paper, with the challenge that you have completed written on it. Now, some of you might have things like, I don't know, coloured A4 card, or you might have a mini whiteboard at home, or even like a mini chalkboard if you've got younger siblings particularly. So feel free to use whatever kind of materials you've got at home basically to make it. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to just be A4 plain paper, but it just needs to be clear. Make sure your writing's nice and big so your tutor can understand which challenges that you've signed up to do and that hopefully you successfully completed. Once your tutor's got everybody's photos in, by the end of the day on Thursday, they're going to collate all of your tutor group photos onto a PowerPoint slide, and they'll send those to me, and then I will be sharing those in the newsletter, hopefully, if we can make the deadline for that on Friday. But if not, I'll be emailing them out to you or sharing them via my homework message to you on a Monday, which is how I'm sharing this link with you all today. So we're also going to be promoting this as a school on our website and on our social media channels using the hashtag CHSGKindness. And you never know, we might be trendsetters. Some of the other year groups might decide that they'd like to take a leaf out of our book and that they would like to join in with spreading the magic that is kindness in their own homes and in their own communities. So let's have a look at the different challenges that you can do. So we've got here, do a good deed for someone in your family, make a card picture and post it to your neighbour to brighten their day, forgive a mistake that someone else has made. Number 4, offer to help someone in your house with something. I'm sure there'll be lots of parents and carers at home that are thinking, yes, please do that one. Number 5 is send a card, letter or picture to somebody as a surprise. And I've put in brackets that you can use email or you could post it to them. Sometimes you don't have stamps and envelopes and things at home, in which case an email will be just as good. And I'm sure whoever receives it will be really grateful and really pleased that you took the time to think of them and to send them a lovely message or a lovely picture. Number 6, tell someone why you love them. Tell someone why you are proud of them. Tell a friend 3 things about them that you think are brilliant. I think that's a really nice one to do. I know that sometimes it can be really hard when you're sitting at home and we're not going into school as normal and you're missing your friends, you're missing your teachers. So to imagine just getting a lovely message from one of your friends from school just out of the blue saying, oh, I think you're brilliant because, and then giving 3 really positive, wonderful things that they love about you. Number 9, give someone in your family a hug. That's a nice one too. Number 10, send a kind message to one of your teachers via email. As I'm sure you know, all of the teachers are working just as hard as you're working at home. And so I'm sure it would really brighten up their day if you were to send them a lovely just thank you email, to thank them for the work that they've been putting in, kind of setting work for you, staying in contact with you, helping you perhaps with things that you found difficult. Number 11, this is an environmental one, be kind to the earth by turning off lights when you're not in the room and recycling as much waste as possible. So you could kind of nominate yourself as the environmental officer for your house for the week, and make sure that you're going around and checking that people are turning off the lights, or even things like not keeping the television on standby, for example, because that still uses energy. And if you want more information on other things that you can do environmentally, then I can share some links with you that I'm sure Miss Stangerin will be more than happy to provide me with, because I know that she's really brilliant at helping all of us, not just students but staff as well, understand the different things that we can all be doing, just little things, not huge things, to help kind of be a bit more environmentally friendly in the way that we live. Number 12 says smile and say good morning or good afternoon to somebody that you pass whilst out for your daily exercise. So I've just put in brackets here, please make sure that there's an adult with you for this challenge, because as much as it is wonderful to be kind to people in our community, I just think as a safety thing it's always good to make sure that you're with a responsible adult when you do challenges like this, if you're going to choose that one. Don't let that put you off though, so do think that it can make a really big impact to somebody. Lots of people have been having to spend lockdown alone if they live alone, particularly elderly people. And I've seen posts on some of the local forums that are local to my area, not even actually just from elderly people, but from people perhaps my age. I know some of you might think that I'm elderly, I'm not as old as I look. People that are my age, or even people that are in their 20s who just happen to live alone, and obviously they haven't really been able to see that many people that regularly. And so they've said that it's really nice when they go out for their walk or their daily walk or their walk down to the shops, when they see someone and they just say hello to them, and that can actually really change the whole mood of their day. So that could be you changing somebody's mood for the rest of the day in a really positive way. So do think about doing that one, but again, just make sure there's an adult with you when you're doing it. So the next slide, I've got number 13. So send a thank you message to someone in your family for everything they do for you. So you could send that via text or WhatsApp, or you could write them a little note on a post-it note, or just a piece of paper that you've got at home. Or if you want to go the whole hog and get creative, you can make a really lovely thank you card and decorate it really beautifully. Number 14, so this is about being kind to yourself. So look in the mirror and tell yourself 3 things that are great about you. Now you might want to think about this one before you do it. So you might want to have a think about 3 things that you think are really great about you, and then write them down, and then you can kind of read them to yourself or tell them to yourself in the mirror. Number 15, give someone you live with a lovely compliment. Always nice to receive compliments, isn't it? So you can think about all the positive things about the people that you live with, and then choose one to tell somebody that you live with, that you compliment them on that particular thing. Number 16, it says tidy your room without being asked. So this will be even kinder if you share a room with a sibling, because you're going to be kind of tidying it for them as well as I'm sure taking kind of a chore from your parents and carers, so they're not having to nag you to do it or argue with you about doing it. Number 17, clear everyone's plates and cups and cutlery after a meal without being asked. Again, that's really kind for everybody, but especially for the person who's perhaps cooked the meal for you. Number 18, offer to get someone at home a cold drink. So when I put this slide together, the weather was much hotter. So with the way that the weather's looking today as I'm recording this, and it's not very warm and it's tipping it down with rain outside, perhaps you might want to think about the drink being a warm drink, but just make sure that obviously if you're using kettles and boiling water and things, that you're doing it safely. Number 19, ask a friend or family member how their day has been and listen to their answer and show interest by asking questions. So I think lots of us, when we're a bit more in our kind of normal day-to-day lives, we might pass lots of people, we might see quite a few people during the day and say, oh hi, how are you? But actually we don't always really stop to properly listen to the answers that people give, and often ourselves when we're asked that, we might just say yeah fine, And actually that might not always be true, or it might not always be like a full picture of how we're feeling. So I think it's really kind when you give somebody that time and space and show that interest in them to find out how they are doing, how they're feeling, and ask them some questions as well when they kind of share with you how their day has been. Number 20, read a story to a younger sibling if you've got them. I know some of you who emailed me shared with me that you do have younger siblings. They are driving you a little bit mad at times, you know, being around them so often, but this could be a really positive thing for both of you, and something that I'm sure your younger sibling would really love. And for those of you who don't have a younger sibling, maybe you are the youngest in the family, I've put read to a pet. And if you don't have a pet to read to, then I suggest you just read to someone else in your family, because it's always nice to be read to. And you don't have to read a very long story. Perhaps you could just find a poem online that you really liked and share that with someone in your family if you don't have a younger sibling or a patient cat or dog that will sit there whilst you read something to them. Number 21, it says use chalk to write a positive message for passers-by on your driveway or the pavement outside where you live. I've also put a little caveat in there: make sure you get permission from your parent and carer before you do this challenge. Again, just in case your mum and dad might have just had their driveway redone and they don't particularly want chalk all over it. But I have seen some really lovely things online where people have drawn, you know, the rainbows and written messages like "thank you NHS," and that's wonderful. But we can think a little bit more about making it a positive message that would speak to everybody that walks past, and not everybody works for the NHS. So it could just be something like smile, or you're brilliant. You could even Google actually positive kind of mantras or positive messages and choose your favorite one and write that down in chalk. And obviously I'm saying chalk because it's not permanent and it will wash away, and therefore it's not going to cause any damage to the surface that you use it on. Number 22, it says find one item of your own that you would like to donate to charity and put it to one side to take to the charity shop once they open again. So this could have you sorting through things. Maybe when you tidy your room, actually, you might find some things that you think, oh, I don't really read that book anymore. It's still in quite good condition. Or I don't wear these shoes anymore. They're still in quite good condition. And just put it to one side. Do make sure that the things that if you want to do this challenge, that it's something that's in good condition. Because yes, it is a charity shop and it's secondhand things, but they can only sell good quality secondhand things on. And if you think about it, you probably don't want to buy something that's maybe all broken or very, very tatty or scruffy. So it's going to be the same for the customers that go to the charity shop. So just have a think about that. And remember, it has to be your own item. So you cannot donate something that belongs to somebody else, another family member, for example. I don't think brothers and sisters or, you know, mums, dads, carers, grannies, granddads are going to be very pleased if they find, I don't know, their favorite book, or perhaps, you know, another item of their something from their wardrobe put to one side. They might think, what's going on here? And then if you tell them you're going to give it to charity, I expect they won't be too happy if you didn't ask them first. Number 23, I've put raise awareness about a cause or issue that is important to you by making a poster. And you can display that in your window, just like people were doing again to say thank you to the NHS. But also lots of people were making signs that were said not just thank you to the NHS, but thank you to all the key workers, like people that work in supermarkets, all of our delivery drivers, the people who take our rubbish away, our kind of rubbish disposal workers, all of those people who've been kind of keeping everything going and ticking over. So, you know, if you've got another cause or issue that you feel really strongly about, again, it could be environmental issue, it could be a social issue, then make a poster about it or put a social media post up. Keep it positive and use it as a way to inform people who either maybe walk by and see your window, or people who follow you on social media, just to give them a bit more information about why it's a cause that you think is really important. Number 24, message or phone someone that you know is feeling lonely or down and let them know that you are there for them. I think it's so important, isn't it, at a time like this, that we are all trying to support each other, supporting our friends, especially if we know that our friends have maybe been feeling a bit down in the dumps, a bit gloomy. You know, it has been a long time that we've all been having to live a different version of our normal lives, and it does take its toll some days. And like I said, especially days where the weather's really gloomy and you don't feel you can really get outside that much, and you're having to spend a lot of time just doing the same old things at home, that it can get people down, and people might start to feel lonely not being able to see their friends in person 5 days a week, as we get to do when we come to school. So just have a think about if that's something you want to do, and choose someone. Maybe it could actually even be a family member that you don't get to see very often, who you know is missing you and missing seeing your family. and just, yeah, brighten their day and just give them a call or just send them a message and just say, thinking of you, how are you doing? You know, looking forward to being able to see you in person properly when all of this is kind of over, or when the weather gets better, if you might be able to meet for a distanced meeting outside somewhere. So that's the challenge, and those are the 24 sort of challenge options. Like I said, you're going to choose one a week, and then on a Thursday you need to email your tutor with a photo of yourself and a sign, and on the sign you need to have written which challenge you did. So some of the challenges, I realised, for example, challenge 21 here, where I've put in brackets get permission from your parent carer, you probably won't want to write that bit on your sign. Okay, I've just put that there as a sort of reminder to you that you need to do that before you do the chalk one. So you could just write, I did the chalk challenge. You could maybe share, put in like a little bubble on the sign which message you wrote for passers-by, or you could actually just take a picture of the message that you wrote in chalk, for example, and send that into your tutor. So you don't necessarily have to be in the picture yourself, although of course it's really nice for everyone to see everybody's faces by doing this, because like I said, we do all miss seeing each other frequently and regularly, and I'm sure your tutors would love to see your faces and see what you've been getting up to. Okay, so last slide then. I just chose this image because A, we're doing a kindness challenge, and B, because at the beginning of the PowerPoint I had a picture that said kindness is magic, and I talked a little bit about why I feel that kindness is a bit like magic, because it can spread quite contagiously, and it can make such a positive difference in the world, because it makes people feel good. When people are kind to them, they feel good about themselves, and then they're more likely to go on and be kind to somebody else. And so we get that domino effect, that kind of ripple effect of how it impacts. So there's lots of upheaval in the world, as always, when isn't there? And I just think that something that we can all do is just be really mindful and focus on how we can be kind just to the people around us, and how that's kind of our first step really to changing the world that we live in, our little bubbles, so to speak. And that hopefully will then have that bigger ripple effect outwards. If everybody was just that little bit kinder, I think that, you know, the world would be a kinder place, a happier place, a nicer place. And so I always feel that we should you know, be the change that we want to see in the world. And so this is a really great opportunity for you girls to do that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you get on. So don't forget, emails to tutors on Thursday and with the challenge that you did. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you enjoy it, and take care in the meantime, and I'll see you all next Monday. Take care. Bye.